The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Every celebrity out there would never want to miss out on this show. The billionaire stand-up comedian Ellen DeGeneres sure has a good amount of controversies surrounding her. Most of these controversies relate to discords or feuds she and other celebrities get involved in. Though Ellen might seem overly sweet on screen, there are a couple of big shots who would choose to disagree. Today, we're about to spill the beans on one such celebrity feud of Ellen DeGeneres. Welcome to Celebrity Shutterbug, where all you inquisitive netizens must stick with us to get all the gossip you need. Before we begin with the video, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our juicy gossip-filled channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on all the tea we're about to spill. Ellen has her unique way around people. We might as well say that's what led her into the so-called fame she has now. She always prefers being herself, and that doesn't always end well. The feud between celebrities isn't a new thing. A bit of drama never stops entertaining the netizens. The long-standing enmity between Rosie O'Donnell and Ellen DeGeneres was always quite discreet. The celebrities always left us hanging and never really disclosed much about it to us. We bet we all are those curious gossip lovers. But we've got some news for you. Lucky for us, Rosie O'Donnell has begun to get more candid about this constant conflict with Ellen DeGeneres. Rosie decided to open up to the public and let you and me in on the beef. Rosie has finally begun admitting to the public that things with the famous Ellen DeGeneres haven't been going so smoothly for quite some time. Thanks to a couple of incidents. Watch what happens live with Andy Cohen featured Rosie, not as a host, but as a guest at this time. Rosie, who is currently 60 years of age, has no place in her heart to harbor hurt, so she rather decided to let it all out on the show. Of course, the present hosts are going to do their job and bring up the subject and make the set feel all uneasy. But hey, Rosie took it pretty well this time. In fact, she saw it as an opportunity to let the world know why she was so hurt from what had happened between her and Ellen DeGeneres. She didn't bat an eye and directly admitted to having a bit of tension between herself and the Finding Nemo voiceover artist. Though it may sound silly to some, it could be heartbreaking to have one of your closest friends not prioritize you further in life. Ellen DeGeneres started stand-up comedy as early as the late 90s. During Rosie's talk show, which aired from the year 1996 to the early 2000s, she got Ellen, her close accomplice, invited as a guest on the show a couple of times. And that's not it. What you are about to hear next will shock you to the core. The extremely kind-hearted and sweet Ellen DeGeneres wasn't so kind to the retired comedian in one of her interviews with Larry King. It was already heartbreaking enough for Rosie O'Donnell to deal with the fact that she wasn't a priority guest on the Ellen Show after Ellen's show started getting global attention. Things didn't end her. The pain she had then was more bearable than what Rosie had to face later on. Though Rosie made peace with the fact that the famous comedian chose not to invite her until as late as her 19th run into the show. If all of this has already got you sympathizing with Rosie, hold your hankies. There's a lot more where this came from. What broke Rosie O'Donnell's heart more than this was the fact that Ellen DeGeneres and Rosie O'Donnell went from being a hilarious couple of friends to Ellen admitting she had no idea who Rosie even is. Quite shocking, isn't it? Let's take a sneak peek into the details about the incident where Ellen spoke of Rosie O'Donnell. All of this chaos began on one fine day when American television host Larry King guest starred on The Ellen Show. Larry, being the cunning host that he is, was of course about to pull the strings about the beef between Ellen DeGeneres and Rosie O'Donnell. And you know what he did next to lead on. Larry King cleverly brought up the incident where Ellen was invited to Rosie's show in the early 2000s and how the episode that aired that day was absolutely hilarious. It was filled with goofy moments between the two and even included some awkward lesbian moments that indeed got the attention of the entire television audience. Why? Because lesbian sparks were not a very common thing during that time. When Larry King asked Ellen what happened to Rosie O'Donnell owing to the fact that she completely vanished after coming out of the closet, Ellen's response was blunt and harsh for Rosie to take in. Larry asked whatever happened to Rosie O'Donnell. Her show went down the tubes. She came out as a lesbian and disappeared. To this, Ellen responded outrightly, "I don't know Rosie. We're not friends." The former comedian overheard this convo unknowingly while sharing the bed with her ex-wife and was absolutely broken from hearing what Ellen had said. Maybe the distance between the two over the years must have gradually faded their bond, but for Ellen to completely deny her existence in her life, Rosie was not prepared to handle it well. No one would like that for sure. She was shocked from hearing those words coming from Ellen and kept wondering whether she heard it right or if it was all just a hallucination. Fast forward to the day Rosie was asked to start as a guest on the WWHL Late Night Show. In one particular segment of the show, the host decided to read Rosie O'Donnell fan comments and questions, and here was a question from one very curious fan who just had to know what happened between the two. Ryan B said, "I loved your iconic yet dramatic moments with Ellen DeGeneres on the Rosie O'Donnell show, but why were you never a guest on Ellen's show during its 20-year run? That might sound like rubbing salt on the wound. Now, this was indeed a question that was about to prick Rosie, but hey, thanks to the fan, we get all the juicy deets on how it all went down. Judging by how long the show had run, not having time to make an appearance was indeed an answer that would make no sense, as there was more than enough time through the 20 years of the show for her to be there at least once. That's when Rosie O'Donnell chose to be open about the incident. In the interview, she spoke about how things had gone wrong from the very beginning of the time Ellen's show began to premiere. As Ellen's show started gaining more fame and Rosie started getting less noticed and closer to being removed from daily television, it was made clear to Rosie that those few moments they spent with Rosie's show meant absolutely nothing to her. Believe it or not, she completely denied that she even knew Rosie O'Donnell and even stated that they weren't even friends. Even a mature person would have felt super hurt from hearing someone they admire speak this way about them. It hurt my feelings as a baby, Rosie stated. Nevertheless, this 60-year-old retired comedian holds no grudge towards Ellen at all. From this, we can tell how good a heart she has. Or should we say she has understood the assignment and learned how to handle such comments? In spite of being ridiculed that way on national television, Rosie did not react abruptly or rudely towards those words and instead played her cards well and spoke very clearly about how she only wished Ellen the best in her life and hopes only for her good. Well, that sure is a mature way to handle things. On the other hand, Ellen still hasn't responded at all to these words of Rosie O'Donnell. But we can say for sure that if she did come across this, Ellen must be silently regretting how she spoke of the 60-year-old former talk show host, and who knows? Maybe we could expect a response in the future. And that indeed sounds less likely to an extent. Ellen always had let us into the personal lives of many celebrities. It's high time she let us into this matter here. Aren't you all a bit curious about it, though? So that's all the beef we have for today, folks. What are your opinions on the feud between Ellen Degeneres and Rosie O'Donnell? Is it a silly thing, or should we empathize here? Do let us know in the comments section down below. If at all there's more gossip to spill on any particular topic you would like, feel free to mention that in the comments section as well. Last but not least, we would like to leave a gentle reminder to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like these, and click on that tiny little bell icon to always stay posted with all the new content we will be bringing to you. Alright guys, see you in the next one.